Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I tell you, looking ahead at what is coming our way in the middle of August, my heart is already starting to beat a little faster. We are about to witness a storyline that feels so incredibly real and raw, dealing with human emotions that many of us have seen in our own lives. We are focusing on Rick Lansing, a man who has always struggled to keep his darker impulses in check, and the storm that is brewing between him, our sweet Elizabeth Baldwin, and the always dependable Dante Falconeri. It is one of those situations where you can see the dark clouds gathering on the horizon, and you just know a heavy rain's about to fall. I have been watching these characters navigate their complicated lives for so long, and seeing Rick step right back into his old patterns is like watching a slow-motion tragedy unfold right before my very eyes. Bless his heart, Rick has always been a deeply complicated man, hasn't he? If you have been following his journey like I have, you know that he carries a heavy history of jealousy and possessiveness. It is a bitter pill to swallow, realizing that someone you care about is fighting demons they just cannot seem to conquer. Rick has tried so hard to turn over a new leaf, to be the kind of man that a wonderful woman like Elizabeth truly deserves. But old habits die hard, as they say here in the States, and it seems like Rick is about to find himself slipping right back down that dangerous slope. When a man lets insecurity take the wheel, he is bound to crash, and I am so worried that Rick is going to ruin everything he has worked so hard to build with Liz. The real trouble begins on August 19th, and I just know this is going to be a tough episode to watch. Picture this. It is a seemingly normal day in Port Charles, the kind of day where you just want to take a stroll and clear your head. But for Rick, this day is going to turn into an absolute nightmare. He is going to be watching from a distance, hidden away, as he spots Elizabeth and Dante together in the park. Now, we all know that seeing the person you love spending time with someone else can cause a little twinge of jealousy, but for Rick, this is going to be a full-blown shock to his system. He is going to witness a moment between them that crosses a line in his mind, and it is going to send him into a complete tailspin. I have to say, the way this scene is described just breaks my heart for everyone involved. Rick is not just going to see them casually chatting about the weather. No, he is going to see something deeply intimate. He might witness a warm, lingering hug that lasts just a little too long, or perhaps he will catch a look between them that makes it seem like Elizabeth is right on the verge of leaning in for a kiss. Can you imagine the sheer panic and anger bubbling up inside him at that exact moment? To stand there, completely helpless, watching the woman you love share such a tender, vulnerable moment with another man. For someone with Rick's history of control issues, it is like striking a match right next to a powder keg. And let us talk about Dante Falconeri for a moment. Dante has always been one of the good guys, a true protector who naturally draws people in when they are hurting. It makes perfect sense to me why Elizabeth would feel safe around him. She has been through the ringer so many times, bless her soul, and sometimes a woman just needs a sturdy shoulder to lean on. But from Rick's vantage point, Dante is not just a friend offering comfort. He is a massive threat. Rick cannot see the forest for the trees here. He is completely blinded by his own fear of losing Liz, unable to recognize that Dante might just be offering the kind of innocent, platonic support that Elizabeth desperately needs right now. As we move into the episode airing on August 20th, the situation is only going to get more complicated and heartbreaking. The bond between Elizabeth and Dante is going to deepen, and Liz is going to make a choice that will cut Rick right to his very core. She is going to choose Dante as her main confidant. Now, I do not know about you, but if I were in a committed relationship, I would want to be the first person my partner comes to when they are carrying a heavy burden. I would want to be their safe harbor. That is exactly what Rick wants to be for Elizabeth. He wants to be her knight in shining armor, the one she turns to for advice, for comfort, and for love. So, when Elizabeth decides to bypass Rick and pour her heart out to Dante instead, it is going to feel like a massive slap in the face to Rick. I can completely understand why he would feel so hurt and left out in the cold. It is a terrible feeling to realize that you are being replaced in the emotional life of the person you love most. Rick is going to feel like he is standing on the outside looking in, watching his relationship slip right through his fingers. But instead of handling this hurt with grace and maturity, Rick is going to let his jealousy completely take over. He is going to let those dark, nagging thoughts convince him that Elizabeth and Dante are sneaking around behind his back. Now, in a perfect world, a grown man in Rick's shoes would take a deep breath, sit his partner down at the kitchen table, and just have an honest heart-to-heart conversation. Communication is the key to any strong relationship, right? If Rick would just open up and tell Elizabeth that he is feeling insecure and uncomfortable with how close she is getting to Dante, I truly believe Liz would listen. She is a reasonable, compassionate woman. She would likely reassure him, hold his hand, and make a real effort to set some proper boundaries with Dante. That is how you nip a problem in the bud before it grows into a massive weed that chokes the life out of your romance. But my goodness, we all know that Rick Lansing is rarely a rational man when his emotions are running high. Instead of taking the high road, he is going to go off the deep end. The spoilers for that August 20th episode make it very clear that Rick is going to lose his temper and start acting out in ways that are entirely destructive. It is so frustrating to watch because you just want to reach through the television screen, grab him by the shoulders, and shake some sense into him. He has worked so incredibly hard to prove to Elizabeth that he has changed, but the moment he feels threatened, all of that personal growth just flies right out the window. I am genuinely terrified that Rick is going to start doing things he will deeply regret later. When a man is consumed by jealousy, he stops thinking clearly. He might start following them, snooping around, or even confronting Dante in a way that causes a huge, embarrassing scene. And you know Elizabeth is not going to stand for that kind of foolishness. She has survived far too much heartache and trauma in her life to put up with a man who wants to keep her in a gilded cage. If Rick tries to control who she can and cannot speak to, he is going to push her right out the door. It is a classic case of a self-fulfilling prophecy. By trying so desperately to hold on to her, he is going to be the very reason she leaves. It really makes you wonder what is going through Elizabeth's mind during all of this. I have always admired her strength and her resilience. I think she genuinely believes she is just finding comfort in a good friend, completely unaware of the massive storm that is brewing right behind her back. I worry for her. I really do. She deserves a peaceful, loving relationship, not a front row seat to another one of Rick's emotional meltdowns. If Rick goes back to his old toxic ways, it is going to break her heart all over again, and I just hate the thought of seeing our sweet Liz shed any more tears. And let us not forget about Dante in all of this mess. Bless his heart, Dante is probably just trying to be a decent human being. He has a natural instinct to protect and serve, both as a police officer and as a friend. I highly doubt he is actively trying to steal Elizabeth away from Rick. But Dante is also not the kind of man to back down if someone comes at him aggressively. If Rick decides to pick a fight, Dante is going to stand his ground, and that is going to create an explosive situation. You simply cannot play with fire without expecting to get burned, and Rick is currently striking matches in a room full of gasoline. The more I think about it, the more I realize that this is a pivotal make-or-break moment for Rick Lansing. This is his ultimate test. Can he overcome his deepest, darkest insecurities, or will he let them completely destroy his life once again? The spoilers suggest that he is going to fail this test miserably, spiraling out of control and potentially doing serious harm to his own life and relationship. It is a tragic, sobering reminder that we all have to fight our own internal battles every single day. If we do not face our demons head on, they will always find a way to creep back in and ruin the good things we have built. I just hope he finds a way to pull himself back from the brink before it is too late. So my dear friends, as we look forward to these mid-August episodes, I suggest you get your tissues ready and prepare for some heavy emotional lifting. We are about to watch a man fight for his love in all the wrong ways, and a woman who might just have to make a heartbreaking choice for her own peace of mind. It is going to be dramatic. I cannot wait to see how it all unfolds, and you better believe I will be right here ready to talk it all through with you when the dust finally settles. Until next time, take care of yourselves and hold your loved ones close.